Hello friends, and welcome back to the Craft Cottage. I'm so glad you joined me today. This week's video is a little different. I had some projects that never made it into some videos. They just were tossed aside and forgotten. Either I didn't like how they turned out, or I just didn't feel like they fit in with that week's projects. And I thought, why don't I just combine them all and just put them in like a mismatched random DIY video. So that's what we're doing today. So let me know in the comments below if you like this kind of video or not. And let's get crafting. This is a little bamboo tray, and not really sure what its intended purpose is, but we're gonna give it a good solid coat of vintage linen. I'm making this for a sign for my mom because she has a bathroom door that once you lock it, it doesn't unlock. You have to manually unlock it. So people were getting locked out of the bathroom. So she had a little paper sign next to her doorknob, and she decided she wanted to upgrade. So I just put a little bit of Golden Rule by DIY around as a little border. Then I went to my Cricut and I typed out the words that she had on her little piece of paper and made them fit inside this little tray, and just going to use some transfer tape. It's been a long time since I've used my Cricut. I don't use it often, and I should. It's a great tool to have. I have it sitting over there. I should use it. Pull the transfer tape up, put it down, hover it where I want it to go. When I'm committed, I'll press it down, just like a transfer. We're going to press over the letters gently, but firmly. That makes a lot of sense, right? And then we're just going to peel that back, and the letters are going to stay. If a letter doesn't stay, we just put it back down and rub a little bit more. But this is how it turned out. I took it out and sprayed it with some sealer, and she loved it. I'm going to show you a picture of it on her door. We are just going to use a little IOD transfer in this project. In this beautiful velvet bag is a wooden pill organizer for every day of the week, and it just twists. I think this is so cool, and the lid comes off, and you see those little magnets? That's what keeps it popped on there. So we're just going to make it a little more decorative in case someone wants to leave it sitting out on their countertop in their bathroom. So I'm just going to peel this IOD transfer off the backing sheet, press, 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 press all around all those little intricate edges. Get it all pressed down really good, and then we're just going to lift that carrier sheet, pressing as we go because some of those little tiny details want to stick to the carrier sheet. And then we just take that carrier sheet, it's a little piece of vellum when you get done, and gently rub over it to burnish it in. And then I am going to take some Big Top sealer and give it 2 coats, letting it dry completely in between each coat. It dries super fast, and it doesn't take very much of this. So this is going to be able to last in a bathroom. Once we get 2 coats of that Big Top sealer on there, we are just going to give it a little time and let it dry completely. This project is dear and near to my heart for many reasons. I have this little acacia wood box that I picked up, and I needed something to put my utensils in when, you have people over and you're using paper plates or even regular dinner plates, and you need to display your silverware for everybody to grab some and go. So I just gave it a little scuff sand with that little sanding block, and then I have this gorgeous strawberry decoupage paper. I've been waiting for the perfect project to put this on, and I think I found it. So I'm just going to use the wet and tear method to get it the size that I want it. And you can see I'm just putting some water on there with a paintbrush. And I thought I was going to do that little method we used to do when we were kids, tear it back and forth, back and forth. I'm going to say it, we would lick it. and then tear it back and forth and then tear it and it would tear perfectly. I didn't lick this one. I used my paintbrush and some water. And then I just kept going around it until I got it the shape and the size that I wanted it. And this is actually some beautiful paper. I'm pretty sure I got this from Decoupage Central. I thought I might put a black and white check piece of ribbon down the side since the paper was a little bit small. And I don't hate that, but I didn't love it. And my kitchen has black in it, so I don't know. So I put some Mod Podge in my little dish over here, my little lid to my peanuts that I make my peanut butter with, and I'm going to mix some faded burlap in there. Now this is going to keep me from having to do 2 steps. I'm going to paint the back of this decoupage paper. The purpose is because I don't want it to blend in with that wood. It needs to pop. So the color, it needs to have a little color on the back of it. So I was also going to put Mod Podge on the back so I could do the iron-on method. So this is 2 birds, 1 stone. Now we're going to let it dry. Give it some time and let it dry. You know the drill. And then once it's completely dry, we're going to come back in and place it on our project. I'm showing you it's completely dry. I love the way that decoupage paper feels when it's got that Mod Podge dried on it. And then we're going to take a piece of parchment paper, not wax paper, people, parchment paper, and an iron. I'm using my little mini press. You could use a household iron if you don't use steam. This is going to reactivate that Mod Podge and create a beautiful, beautiful marriage. I love it. I'm just going to take some clear wax by DIY and seal this puppy up because we don't want it going anywhere. Then I decided I needed those edges to not be so white. So I took the Grunge Gray wax by Dixie Belle, and I don't want a whole lot in that brush. That's why I'll keep wiping it off. And then I'm just going to put it right around those edges. And then I kind of lightly went over the top, but ever so lightly. I'm going to take my little piece of a white scrap t-shirt, just wipe off the excess, and it turned out exactly like I wanted.
Okay, I hope that you are liking this video and these projects. Leave me a comment down below and let me know. Hopefully you can gain some inspiration or just laugh. Whatever you want to do, that's fine with me. Let's get back to crafting.
I picked up these little black gift bags and they were very plain. So I grabbed some IOD stamps. You could use any kind of stamps that you have in your stash. And I grabbed the mixing white IOD ink. You could use any kind of white ink. This is actually supposed to be mixed with other inks to make them lighter, but we all use it as white ink and it works. I'm just going to use this beautiful tulip on this black bag and show you how beautiful it stamps on there. Look at that. Would you look at that? I'm going to do 3 tulips and then some of the leaves just randomly on there. Well, I'm going to try to, do them in some sort of a semblance, but I'm just going to put them kind of randomly on there. And then look how pretty they are. I'm going to do this is where the masks come in handy. I wish I would have had more than 1 mask for this because I wanted to put some of these vines in the background, but I only had 1 mask. So the mask you put over your stamp and then it will look like your design is behind your stamp that you already have down. I love how the IOD stamps have that. So I'm just wiping off what is going to possibly get all over the place. So look how cute that is. I'm just going to keep working with it until I have it how I want it to look. And this is how this one is going to turn out. I'm going to take that tape off and here you go. We're going to push that little piece down in the bottom. And look how cute these little bags are. I got them on clearance somewhere. I've had them in my stash, but look how cute that is. Now on the other side, we're going to take this, I can't even remember which stamp this is a part of, the ephemeral, I believe, and just put this little bit of writing on there and another little stamp on there. So simple. I got these rub-on transfers from Amazon. They are not the quality that I like to work with. They're very slick, and they almost are a little bit raised on the surface. They don't really kind of meld with your surface like the IOD ones do, but they are pretty, and they're perfect for these gift bags. They're perfect for gift wrap and gift bags, and they were very, very affordable. So if you want to do something like this, I would highly recommend them for this. But you can see they're super shiny, and they do give it a little bit of maybe a 2D texture. You know, they do have a little bit of a raised texture to them. But I'm just going to put a couple flowers, a little butterfly right there, and it just elevates this gift bag and, you know, makes it not a plain black gift bag. Oops, tore that little butterfly's wing right off. We're going to put that right back down, press it down, no worries. So this is what this little gift bag looks like. I put florals on one side, florals and butterflies on the other. Now, this little piece I picked up from Amazon really inexpensively, and it's a little coaster set. It's really cute, but I thought that the little base that it sits in was kind of plain. So I have these little pieces that I had poured out of resin, and they were in my stash. They were just extra bits and pieces. When I have extra resin in the cup, I just pour it into some molds. And so I painted all of these pieces in the color Mud Puddle by Dixie Belle. It's a really pretty, like milk chocolate brown. Then I'm going to take this old stencil brush that's all worn out. I'm going to dry brush some, I don't know if this is vintage linen or some, you know, kind of soft white over the top of it, because I'm trying to mimic the look in those coasters. And I thought this really, really worked great. And then once I get all those pieces the white dry brushed on there to my liking, you know, as much or as little as you want, just to bring out the details of those beautiful IOD molds. This was from several different molds, just because, like I said, when I have a little extra resin in the cup, we're not going to waste it. We're just going to pour it in a smaller mold, and then I throw them in a little tub container, and then I have them when I need them. So this one was tiny, kept slipping out of my fingers, so I just grabbed my tweezers, hold it with my tweezers, so that I can get a hold of it. I think these turned out really pretty. Then I'm going to take some spray paint in a matte clear. I love to use this as a sealer, and it's really quick, especially on these tiny little pieces that are hard to use wax on. So I just took them on this little napkin outside and sprayed them with that sealer. I'm also going to use a little bit of that white just around the edges of this, a tiny little bit, and then maybe drag it right across the middle just a little bit, ever so lightly. I don't want a whole lot of paint on there, but it will just kind of tie in the whole look. Bring it in a little bit from the edges and just, yeah, tie in the look of this whole thing. I'm going to seal the box with some wax. This is the clear wax by Dixie Belle, and I'm really surprised I did that, because usually the glue will not stick to the wax, but this actually worked like a charm. I'm just using a little t-shirt to apply this. I usually like to use my makeup brushes, but for some reason this day I just had that little piece of an old t-shirt and I just used it. This is where I'm showing you. I used a clear matte spray, and I just took it outside and sprayed it. Now when it was completely dry, I came back in, brought it back in, grabbed my Tite Bond Quick and Fix, squirted a little bit out on my mat, which I'm known to do, And then I just dabbed a little bit on the back of these pieces and placed them where I wanted them to go. And this stuff dries really fast and it dries really good. And it actually adhered to that wax really well. Watching this back as I do the voiceover is when I realized that I waxed it before I glued the pieces on. I should have just put them on and then sprayed it, the entire thing, but I didn't even realize I did that. But it's holding up well, so yay. Thank you, Lord. He does look after me in all of my shenanigans. But I just love that little bird, and I think this turned out adorable. Just a nice little enhancement. Now I'm going to take this old book that was going to be thrown in the trash, and I said, no, 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 I'll take it. It had a cover on it, and when I took the cover off, there was this tape. And when I took the tape off, it kind of ripped that, but we're gonna fix that. I'm gonna find the middle of this book. We're gonna make one of those book vases. It's been done all over YouTube. I do realize this. And I'm not sure that I did a great job on it. I didn't want to put this in a video, obviously, but it's going to be in this video, and you tell me what you think about it when it's all done. So I wanted to cover up this Superstar because this was obviously a kid's book or a preteen book. So I took my canvas drop cloth, I cut a strip to fit that binding and kind of frayed the edges a little bit. I'm going to take some Titebond Quick and Thick. I'm going to put a generous amount on that binding. I'm going to take I'm like running low on that bottle, so I'm just going to shake it down and squeeze it out. I'm going to take my silicone spatula that I got at Dollar Tree, and I'm going to just put my drop cloth on there, get it all even, and then just rub it so that Titebond is pushed up into the canvas drop cloth. I also cut some pieces out that would just fit over those taped pieces. I got this stencil set at a store we have here locally called Ollie's, and they have discounted stuff, and sometimes you find some good stuff in there and sometimes you don't. But this was a good deal. Has a lot of stencils in there, so we're going to use this one right here that I showed you. First, I'm going to go ahead and glue these two pieces down. I wanted to put that stencil on the actual book. Hindsight, I wish I would have just put canvas drop cloth all over the front of this or done something different, because honestly, I do not like how this turned out. That's why it never made it into a video. But it's in this video, okay? These are the lost and forgotten or just random DIYs. So we're just going to glue these two little pieces of drop cloth down. I thought this was a good idea. Whatever. Okay, so I do love the stencil, and I taped it to the drop cloth because we know what happens when you tape it to the book. And this is Sea Glass by Dixie Belle, the paint color. It's a beautiful kind of sea green. And I'm going to use a dauber, paint dauber. And I'm just going to get most of the paint off of it. I'm not using very much paint on there, and just pouncing, pouncing, pouncing. And straight up and down, being careful not to slide it left or right as to get paint under that stencil. And it turned out just beautiful. I love it. I'm going to give it a little bit of time and let it dry. Clean up my stencil. And then I had this crocheted ribbon that I love. And I'm going to just cut a piece and put it in the middle of that because I thought it looked kind of plain. And it was a nice little added touch to it, but just really not loving the way this book front cover turned out. Then I had to do something about that piece on the back as well. And so I just put a strip of canvas drop cloth straight down the middle. You'll see that here shortly. right here. So I just glued that strip right down the middle to cover up those pieces. I didn't tear that piece of tape off. I just glued this over it, and it worked out fine. I should have done something similar on the front. Oh boy. Okay. Anyway, the inside of it turns out beautiful, and hopefully I can sit it somewhere where you don't have to look at the back of it. I'm going to use this giant paper clip because I couldn't find a normal size paper clip anywhere, and clip the pages in the center that we're going to fold to make our flower frog. It's going to be kind of like flower frog where we're going to put our flowers, our florals. I'm going to mark where I want to cut it with a ruler. I made mine a little bit low, a little bit short, but I like how it turned out. I'm going to take an X-Acto knife. You could just cut it with your scissors, but I wanted to cut all of them at this. Well, you could cut them all at the same time with your scissors too, but this was just easy for me. I did it with one swipe. We're going to keep the bottom and we're going to cut away the top. I just cut it on one side and then down the other side, and it came right off. And we will save those pieces of that book for another project because we don't throw anything away over here. So I don't know what I'm saying about that, but anyway, we're going to have it stand up, and so I don't want the pages going all willy-nilly, so we're going to glue the back there just like you see me doing, the back and the front. We'll do both sides. It still didn't sit right, so I did not get this on camera, but I took Titebond Quick and Thick and some clamps. I'm still debating about if I like that front of that book or not. You can see I'm like, I don't know. I'm looking at it, I'm gazing at it, and then I'm like, I don't know. I like the stencil part, but I don't know about the rest of it. I don't know. I'm on the fence. But yeah, so I'm folding these in. We're going to fold those in. We're going to glue those into place in just a minute. But I'm telling you right here that I took a lot of glue and I painted the glue on the pages. It's not necessary to do that with every book. This one just would not stand open. So that's what I did. I did not get it on camera. I apologize. But I just painted it and then I clamped it with some clamps and let it dry. Now I am going to put a little bit of the Titebond on the edge of the pages and then just fold them in like you see me doing here. It doesn't take a whole lot of glue, just a little bit. Being careful not to get that glue on the other pages, making sure that they're all lined up on the bottom. Really doesn't matter about the top because you will not see that when we're done. So we're going to do all of these little pages that we cut. We're going to do the same process for all of them until we've got all of them done. Paint that glue on the edge, fold it in, poke it down in there. Easy peasy. This part's easy. I think I may try to do this again. I would love to do it with a vintage book, but I'm not willing to cut up any of my vintage books. If I could find one, maybe I will. Maybe I will someday. Maybe I'll just take a book and make it look vintage. We're going to, give that some time and let that dry before we start putting our florals in so the pages don't come out. Now I had these leaves and I decided to put them on a skewer so that they would just stand up in the back. I'm going to use my wire cutters to cut that down because it worked really good. We're just going to put a little hot glue in there and then stick the bamboo stick in there. Let that dry, and then we will stick that in our little page flower frog. I'm going to put those little florals. These came from Dollar Tree, and the sunflowers came from Hobby Lobby. I decided I didn't like those leaves, the way they were sitting in there. And then I decided I didn't like that leaf, the way that leaf was sitting. I trimmed it off, and then I end up cutting one of the leaves off. You're going to see that. Yeah, didn't like the way I couldn't make the leaf lay right. I didn't like the way it was laying. That one was too short, so I had used these florals for a different project, for a baby shower, so some of them were already off of their stems. So I'm going to put these on 2 separate sticks. That one's going to be on that stick, and then I wanted this one to kind of hang off the side, so I'm just going to glue it that way. Glue it off to the side, and then we will stick it down in there so that it will sit the way we want it to, just like so. Then I'm just going to keep poking the flowers in there until they look the way that I want them to. And then this project is complete. Let me know if you think this was a complete failure or if it's okay. Yeah, the front of that book, I just don't know. I just don't know about it. I do like the florals and I love the idea of the book.
Well, that's all I have for this video, friends. I'm so glad that you joined me today. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It means so much to me for those of you who are here every week and leave comments and support me. It just warms my heart. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up. Leave me a comment down below. Make sure you are subscribed because we want to get to that 15,000 subscriber count so that we can do our giveaway. I'm already collecting things for a box of goodies to ship out to the winner of the giveaway when we get there. But most of all, I want you to remember to be still and know that He is God.